LaPenta. This is WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. I am your host with the most, Jersey Joe. And I did lie before. I said 3 hours on the air. Turns out it's 4 hours. So if you're tired of hearing my voice, then tune out now. And if you want to keep on listening, let's keep on going now. The title of this segment has got to be, let's be honest, can anybody really beat Kentucky? I've kind of had a love and hate relationship with Kentucky this year. I did think early I wasn't sure if they would have the ability to get it done against a Duke or a Wisconsin. But I think the more and more we've watched and things have progressed, I just don't think anybody legitimately is going to beat Kentucky. Maybe in the SEC tournament they'll lose a game, but I just think what we see from Kentucky is something no one else can have now. Kentucky does struggle for stretches, but I think for the most part, this is such a complete team. Their athleticism, their ability to close out games is something no one else has. I mean, I think so many times during the year, they've had a couple of times more recently where they've struggled, and it's been close the last couple of minutes, but you just consistently see that their athleticism, their height, their situational awareness, it's just something no one else has, no one else can replicate. I mean, Towns and Willie Cauley-Stein and the Harrison brothers, these guys are huge. If you miss shots against them in the end of games, there's no chance you're coming away with the rebound. If they miss shots at the end of games, their percentages of getting the rebound is ridiculous. This is a team that just has size no one else can compete with. The only thing that's been tough part of the year, and the reason I didn't buy into them completely at first, was because the SEC is not that good. It is not. Florida is not good this year. That's usually the other program that gives them a big run for their money. The SEC is just not that good. But I think when we look at the other major programs in college basketball right now, I could go down the list and tell you the biggest identifiable weakness out of all of them. I mean, Virginia, I love Virginia. Their defense is outstanding. Maybe no one plays better defense than they do, aside from Kentucky, but their pace of play is a major issue. They play at a snail's pace on offense. If they have to play a certain way on offense, and Kentucky is just not going to let them get off their high quality shots. They would struggle immensely against Kentucky. Gonzaga is Gonzaga. I mean, we always like this program. They consistently are winners, but I think at the end of the day, there's a reason why the powerhouses always win. Gonzaga always makes it interesting, but it's always a powerhouse. Duke, I like Duke a lot. I started to think Duke would have a legitimate chance to challenge Kentucky, but I think depth is a little bit of an issue for Duke. They really struggle on defense. I love Jahlil Okafor, but he doesn't do enough away from the basket. He cannot make free throws, and in a late game situation against Kentucky with the size that they do, I think Okafor would really struggle. Duke has their issues. Wisconsin is probably the biggest rival and the biggest threat to Kentucky because they have very good size. They move the ball well. They know how to play defense. This is a team that's bringing over a lot of the guys who had a very good run in the tournament last year. Wisconsin is the one that I feel the best about with their ability to challenge Kentucky. But I just think at the end of the day, when we just think about it realistically, when you just look at the tournament and the way things are shaping out to be, I don't know who can beat Kentucky. I really don't. Like I said before, the only weakness I really see is they struggle for stretches. And in the tournament, if they struggle for stretches, I don't know what that'll mean for them if it's against a bigger program. A lot of times they've been able to recover in these stretches because, like I said, the SEC is weak. These aren't great teams, and you have a very good chance of bouncing back. If it's against a Duke or a Wisconsin or a Virginia, would it be the same thing? Probably not, but I think at the end of the day, it's about their athleticism, it's about their defense, it's about their situational awareness more than anything. And when you get to the tournament, situational awareness is just the thing at the end of the day that will set you apart from everyone else, because there are critical phases in the closing out these quarters, closing out these games, the little possessions here and there that are going to determine the outcome of these tournament games. And that's one thing Kentucky, I think, does better than anyone else, is their situational awareness. They're just trained, and they're just been implanted to kind of overcome in those spots. And they always seem to come away with the critical rebounds and the critical defensive stops, critical shots in critical moments of the games. Situational awareness, you can't say enough about it, but it's shaping up to be a very good tournament. And it was last year as well, because last year the biggest thing is I really didn't feel like you could confidently say that there was one program that had the legitimate chance to win it all. And that was the evidence. I mean, UConn winning it all. Nobody had UConn winning it last year. I mean, they almost lost against St. Joe's in the first round, and after that they kind of just ran away and just were phenomenal. But I think we all felt good about Florida, and Florida did play very well until their point guard, Scottie Wilbekin, forgot who he was and forgot where he was and was just awful. But it's all about guard play in this tournament, as we've seen. But in this tournament with Kentucky, they have guard play, they have size, they have it all. I definitely feel this year much more confident. I mean, look, we're all going to pick Kentucky to win it all. We're all going to fill out a couple brackets and make some other winners. But nobody gives us more confidence than Kentucky. I haven't felt this good about who I think's going to win it all since probably Kentucky again back in 2012 with Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and all those other guys. You just look at them. This team is a lot like that team. The starting five is just, I mean, a lot of NBA size, a lot of NBA talent there. It is very reminiscent of that team. Now, you never know what's going to happen when we get to the Final Four. I mean, it will be interesting to see how they are tested when they play these bigger programs. Now, they have shown you against a lot. I mean, they've had a lot of success in the games they have played against the bigger schools. But just look at it. Just think about it from what you've watched so far. Do you really believe anybody has the size to counter Kentucky? I just think they don't have an identifiable weakness that all these programs can exploit. It'll be a lot of exciting. I can't wait to come on the air and fill out the bracket with everybody. But I just think right now, my mind is shifted too, because a couple weeks ago, I was on the air saying I didn't know if I could legitimately and confidently say on the air that I believe Kentucky was better than anyone else, or that they were better than Duke or Virginia or some of these other programs. But the more you watch, the more you've seen how things have gone, there's not a doubt in my mind right now that Kentucky is number one and that they will win it all. I feel better about it than I have in a long time. Going back to 2012 with that Anthony Davis team, it's just they're just so good, Kentucky. And the tournament will be fun because we did see with that Kentucky team with Anthony Davis, their one loss did come in that tournament, and it was good timing. Now, a lot of people saying that losing a game thing is good is overrated. I don't know if it is. I mean, it can't be bad. It can't really hurt you. So it could be a good wake-up call for them. I don't know if this team will lose a game. They very well might not, but it'll be a lot of fun to see. But right now, I just think at the end of the day, you look at the facts, you look at what you've watched, there is nobody better than the Kentucky Wildcats, and right now, I think they will win the NCAA tournament. That is going to do it for this segment, though. Wrapping it up, coming back in a little bit with some more baseball, getting back to some football we missed a little bit earlier. So stay with us, and we will be right back.